When I got to Grinnell, I thought that I had made it. I was a small town kid from Idaho. No one even knows where Idaho is, and I was headed to a fancy private college. I was going to join all the clubs. I was going to be on the dean's list. I was going to drink coffee late at night in the library. I was going to partake in Grinnell's notorious dance parties. It was going to be great, the full American college experience. But then I started getting sick. It was slow at first. Migraine here and there, a couple missed classes a semester. And then it was sudden. I was in and out of the ER. I was failing classes I used to excel in. I was sleeping on a hallway bench between courses to conserve energy. I needed to leave Grinnell. I was able to return the next semester, and everyone treated me as if I had recovered, as if everything was normal. 5 months away, and I had found the right treatment plan, the right doctor, the right diagnosis. It takes cisgender women in the United States an average of 4 years and 4 doctors to get a diagnosis for a chronic illness, so better was pretty far from the truth. I had found ways to manage and to cope, but I still lived with the burden of undiagnosed chronic illnesses. I still had needs that didn't align perfectly with being a full-time college student, especially at Grinnell. What I needed from people when I came back was for them to acknowledge that I had taken time away. I needed people to see the changes in my body as a part of my being. I needed people to understand that I wanted to be there. I needed people to ask, what do you need? And how can I help? I needed people. See, when I started at Grinnell, I thought that hopes were a checklist, and they were things you could achieve and check off. Graduated high school, check. Got into university, check. Made friends, check. These hopes could make me happy, and I could achieve them all on my own. But when I started getting sick, my perceptions changed. My checklist of hopes was deteriorating before me, being composted to make room for things that I didn't necessarily hope for. I needed to have time for doctor's appointments, not choir rehearsals. I needed any exciting job or fellowship to also have exciting benefits and insurance. I was angry and I was frustrated, and I didn't think that I could have hope. I thought that being chronically ill without a cure had stolen hope from me. So, how do you hope when it's chronic? First, what I've learned about hope and hopeful people is that hopeful people are angry. They are frustrated. They are failing classes and changing plans and off track. If everything was fine, if everything was normal, there would be no need for hope. So I find hope in the small things, in waking up each day, hoping I don't have a migraine, in hoping my professor or supervisor will give me a little bit extra time on a project after a flare, in cute cat videos, obviously. And in the big things, I find hope in leaning into the suckiness, in acknowledging that we live in a world full of systems designed for an elite few. Certainly not designed for me and my body, nor for many of you. And then changing what we can inside and outside those systems. I have hoped the world can be more just and accessible so that I can live the life I want to live with my migraines. I don't hope to be 100% free of migraines. My body is my body, and I can't change a fundamental part of who I am. So I have hope that the world, that all of us together, can overcome our ableism instead of me bending my body until it breaks to fit in to this isolating ableist system that we live in. I have hope that the world can and will change. And to change the world, even just have hope to change the world, we need other people. We need each other. This idea of collectively reimagining a more just and accessible world is not new. It echoes the hopes of disability justice activists before me, particularly activists of color and LGBTQ activists. Activists who smashed curbs with jackhammers and explosives to get Berkeley city leaders to implement curb cuts. Who just 30 years ago crawled up the steps of the US Capitol to advocate for the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. These activists, they were angry and they were frustrated, but collectively, they had hope. Collectively, they changed the world. See, I had thought that hope was a checklist, but hope is a community garden that we all contribute to and create when we turn to each other, see each other for who we are and where we are, and ask, what do you need? And how can I help? This garden changes and it grows with the seasons as we advocate for unmet needs beyond our own, needs we might never even have considered. A more empathetic and responsive world is a more accessible and just world for everyone. We all benefit from curb cuts in the Americans with Disabilities Act. When I thought that I wouldn't be able to finish my Grinnell degree 6 years ago, or when just this past year I thought I might be on the phone with insurance every month for the rest of my life, it was so hard to find hope. It was people working within the system, a few compassionate Grinnell staff and faculty, a very patient customer service representative, and people outside of the system, my friends, my family, my community, who watered hope's roots and tended to hope's buds when I thought I could not. Together, we create a more caring and accessible Grinnell. Together, we advocate for a different health system. Together, we change the world, and together, we hold hope. Leaving 2020 and entering 2021 after a year of such tumult and global health crises that have violently reminded us that we are all dependent on one another, we have an opportunity to pause and reimagine a more just and accessible world. We have an opportunity to see a community garden from a burned and barren lot. And even if you personally don't think you need to reimagine the world, someone else does. At some point in our lives, we will all find something in the world that's inaccessible. We will all need community gardens, and we will all need people to help us hold hope. So leaving here today, use this opportunity, use this pause to turn to your neighbor, see them for who they are and where they are, and ask, what do you need? And how can I help?